All right, so this video is about the reactions that take place during photosynthesis. And this is definitely one that you're going to need to watch several times and kind of repeat until you get a really good feel for what's going on during photosynthesis. So here we see our basic equation of photosynthesis. The plants take in water and carbon dioxide. We can see those molecules here. And then they take in light energy, which could be called solar or electromagnetic or radiant energy. They're all the same thing. And they create C6H12O6, which we know is called glucose, and that's this big molecule here, and they release oxygen. Now, we're used to seeing this as just one equation, but realistically, what's going on here is two separate reactions. One is called the light-dependent reaction, and one is called the Calvin cycle. Now, before we get into those too far, let's actually break down the word photosynthesis. The word photo means light, and it refers to the light reaction. So photo means light. Synthesis, as we know, means to create or to make. We synthesize something. In this case, photosynthesis is making glucose. That's what we're making. All right. Now, both of these reactions are going to happen in the organelle called the chloroplast. So even though we have one reaction, as we talk about with photosynthesis, it's actually two reactions that are working together. Let's take a look. All right, so we know we have two reactions. And when we take a look at the overall purpose of photosynthesis, this is an important one, guys. The purpose of photosynthesis is to convert your light energy into glucose. Here's another important one. What energy transformation takes place? The energy is going to go from light energy or electromagnetic to chemical energy. So that's another important thing to understand. All right, let's take a look at our two reactions that take place. We know we have the light-dependent reaction and we have the Calvin cycle. And within the chloroplast, they take place at different spots. The light-dependent reaction is going to take place in the thylakoids. When we know we put them together, we call it a granum. The Calvin cycle takes place in the fluid within the chloroplast called the stroma. Okay, let's focus primarily right now on the light-dependent reactions. The light-dependent reaction depends on light. So that is one of the things that's going into this. And again, it can be called solar or electromagnetic or radiant. The other thing going into this is water, H2O. Now, a series of reactions take place, and what comes out is ATP, NADPH, and oxygen gas. So realistically, what's happening here is that the water goes in, it gets broken up and split up by the light, and oxygen leaves. That was part of that water. You'll note that the thylakoid is green, and it's green because it has chlorophyll in it. And that makes sense, right? Chlorophyll's job is to absorb light. Well, here's the light coming in. It gets absorbed by chlorophyll. The energy that's coming in, that electromagnetic energy that's coming into this reaction, is powering an enzyme called ATP synthase. And I know it's an enzyme because it ends in ase. And ATP synthase, the synth part, tells me that it's like synthesis, it's making. And its job is to take the light, basically, and we're making ATP from it, okay? And we're making something called NADPH. So what we've basically done is we've converted electromagnetic energy into chemical energy. All right, now these two here are going to power the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle's job is to take CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and we are going to create glucose. So basically what's happened here, if you notice, this has 6 carbons, but CO2 only has 1 carbon. So what we have to do is this cycle goes around 6 times to make 1 glucose molecule. And the process of taking carbon dioxide and creating glucose is called carbon fixation. It goes from inorganic CO2 to organic glucose. We also have these low-powered ADP and ADPH heading back to the light-dependent reaction to get re-energized. So if we follow the energy, it starts as electromagnetic, it gets converted into chemical. Now, both of these are very unstable. And because they're unstable, we're going to convert the energy again into glucose, which is much more stable. Now, from here, the glucose molecule can make starches and sucrose. This is definitely a video that you guys are going to watch over and over and over until you get a really good understanding with it.